Imagine a life where, you know, your later years aren't just about managing decline, where they're vibrant, active, full of, well, life. We all want to live longer, sure, but what if we could live better for longer?
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're digging into today, this fascinating idea of health span.
Right.
It's not just counting birthdays. It's about that crucial period from birth until major diseases kick in, when you've got the physical and mental capacity to actually enjoy things. Quality, not just quantity.
And we're diving deep using some really compelling research as our guide. There's a critical new paper, Increasing the Health Span, Unique Role for Exercise. It's by Gaesser, Hall, Angadi, Poole, and Rosette out of the Journal of Applied Physiology.
A really solid piece of work.
Yeah. So our mission today, to pull out the absolute key insights from this research, we're focusing on the roles of exercise, calorie restriction, some of which might surprise you in stretching out that health span.
And we'll also touch on why maybe some traditional ways of thinking about health have fallen a bit short.
Exactly. And we've got a truly unconventional but scientifically grounded solution towards the end. So, yeah, get ready for maybe a few aha moments.
Okay, so let's frame the problem first. This health span conundrum. Life expectancy. It's shot up over the last century. I mean, that's a massive achievement, no question.
Huge.
But here's the catch. While we're living longer, a really big chunk of those extra years are spent battling chronic diseases.
It's pretty stark when you look at the numbers. In the U.S., the average health span is only about 66 years. Think about that.
Yeah.
If someone lives to, say, 77 or 85, that means maybe 16 to 20% of their life is spent in what the paper calls aged morbidity.
Yeah.
Basically dealing with significant illness, disability.
Which isn't just tough personally, it has enormous costs. Over $4 trillion a year in U.S. healthcare costs are disproportionately linked to this. So we're adding years, but are they good years?
And what's driving this gap? The paper points fingers squarely at two main things. Physical inactivity and, well, eating too much.
The stats are kind of staggering. Globally, over 80% of teenagers and adults just don't get enough physical activity.
80%.
Yeah. And in America, it's close to 90% of adults being metabolically unhealthy. 60% have at least one chronic disease. Nearly half are juggling multiple conditions. It's a crisis, really.
The paper uses this vivid term, the diseasem of inactivity. It really paints a picture.
It does.
Being sedentary apparently speeds up the decline in our cardiorespiratory fitness, our CRF, by like 3 decades.
30 years. It's like fast-forwarding that part of aging.
And inactivity is linked to at least 35 different pathological conditions, things like type 2 diabetes. The CDC thinks 1 in 3 U.S. adults could have it by 2050.
Wow. It really feels like our modern environment, our comforts, are sort of working against our biology.
It makes you think. Compare that to, say, hunter-gatherers from 40,000 years ago. The paper notes that if they survive childhood, they often live into their 70s with relatively little decline in things like walking speed, grip strength, their basic fitness.
Right, which strongly suggests that this long period of sickness and old age that we see now isn't, biologically inevitable. It seems largely a product of modern medicine keeping us alive longer, combined with our modern lifestyles.
So the real goal here, for aging science anyway, isn't just adding more years. It's about shrinking that period of sickness, expanding the health span. The paper uses this great image, telescoping morbidity, squeezing it into the very last years and months.
Exactly, making those extra years genuinely worth living.
Okay, so with that kind of bleak picture painted, let's talk solutions.
Yeah.
And the paper really shines a spotlight on exercise, calls it the ultimate polypill.
Yeah, there's that great quote from Robert N. Butler. If exercise could be packed into a pill, it would be the single most widely prescribed and beneficial medicine in the nation. This research absolutely backs that up.
You can see why. The paper hammers home that high cardiorespiratory fitness, CRF, best measured by VO2 max, is the single biggest factor in delaying death from any cause and pushing back the onset of chronic diseases, cardiovascular, metabolic, even cancer.
And that VO2 max, just to clarify, is basically how well your body can take in and use oxygen when you're working your hardest. Think of it as the horsepower of your body's engine.
A good way to put it. And the benefits are tangible, right? Lifelong runners or exercisers delay disability by something like 14 to 16 years compared to inactive people.
It's huge.
And adults exercising just 3 times a week had a 32% lower risk of dementia. More activity means more years, yes, but also fewer disabled years.
What's really powerful is this idea of the therapeutic index, the benefit versus the side effect. Exercise just blows away drugs in this regard.
Right.
It could potentially cut all-cause mortality by 30 to 40%. In the U.S., that translates to maybe saving 720,000 lives a year.
Wow.
But here's the kicker. To get the maximum health span benefits, the paper suggests we need way more activity than usually recommended, like 3 to 5 times more, so 450 to 750 minutes a week.
Okay, that's a lot more than the standard advice. It definitely challenges the usual thinking.
It does, and that brings us to another really interesting kind of counterintuitive point the paper makes. The whole weight loss paradox.
Yes. Obesity rates, we know they're soaring. Doubled globally in many places over 50 years, tripled in the U.S. Projections say 50% obesity in the U.S. by 2030.
Yet, despite that, over 40% of adults try to lose weight each year. And let's be honest, most attempts aren't successful long term.
Right, you lose it, you gain it back, which leads to this danger of weight cycling or yo-yo dieting.
Exactly. And that pattern affects a huge chunk of the population, 20 to 55%. And it's linked to significantly higher risks. 35 to 50% increased risk of dying from any cause, 36% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease.
Why is that cycling so bad?
Well, the constant fluctuations in things like blood pressure, cholesterol, insulin sensitivity, those cardiometabolic risk factors seem to be really detrimental, especially for people with type 2 diabetes. One editorial even warned starkly that the cure for obesity may be worse than the condition.
So if weight loss itself is so tricky and potentially risky, where should the focus be?
This is where the paper really shifts the perspective. It emphasizes that even moderate levels of fitness, that CRF we talked about, can massively reduce or even completely eliminate the mortality risk that comes with having a high BMI.
Get that again. So someone with obesity, but who is moderately or highly fit.
Has a lower risk of dying than someone who is normal weight but has low fitness.
That completely flips the usual narrative. It points straight to fitness being the key, not just weight.
It's a profound difference. And think about why exercise wins here. When you lose weight just through dieting, you often lose lean muscle mass too. So your absolute VO2 max, your total engine size, might actually go down, even if you're lighter.
Ah, I see. Even if the relative number looks better because you weigh less.
Exactly. But increasing your activity, boosting your CRF, that's consistently linked to much, much bigger drops in mortality risk, 30 to 60% compared to trying to lose weight intentionally.
And exercise training on its own rarely causes massive weight loss, right?
Right. And crucially, its benefits for mortality seem to be largely independent of whether you lose weight or what your BMI is. It's like upgrading your engine makes the car run better and last longer, regardless of its overall size.
That's the polypill effect again. Exercise directly improves the health of your fat tissue, reduces that dangerous visceral belly fat more effectively than dieting alone. It benefits pretty much every cell, every organ, every system, regardless of weight.
A really powerful message about where our efforts might be best directed.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Part 3 in the paper focuses on calorie restriction. Ben Franklin had it right. To lengthen thy life, lessen thy meals.
Ancient wisdom backed by modern science. Calorie restriction, or CR, just means consistently eating less energy than you burn, but without becoming malnourished. And the promise it holds is, well, remarkable.
We see this in animal studies all the time, right? The CR extends both the average and the maximum lifespan in lots of species. Yeast, worms, rats, even monkeys.
Yeah, the preclinical evidence is strong. And comparing it to exercise in those animal models is interesting. Exercise tended to increase the average lifespan in rats, but CR extended both the average and the maximum lifespan.
So what does that suggest?
It suggests CR might be tapping into something more fundamental, what scientists call primary aging, that sort of inevitable biological wear and tear, whereas exercise seems more effective against secondary aging, the deterioration caused by lifestyle, by disease.
And we see hints of this in people, too.
Absolutely. Observational studies show people who voluntarily practice CR for years tend to have vastly better cardiovascular and metabolic health.
Which leads us to this landmark study, the Calorie trial.
Yes, Calorie. This was a big deal. The first randomized controlled trial looking at long-term CR, but specifically in healthy people without obesity. Their BMI was in the 22 to below 28 range.
So the goal wasn't just fixing metabolic problems.
No, the goal was explicitly to see if CR could impact the aging process itself in healthy individuals. They used really precise methods to track energy intake. The participants were very committed.
And what did they find? Did they hit the restriction targets?
Well, the target was 25% restriction, which is tough. They actually achieved about 12% restriction on average over 2 years.
Still significant, though.
Definitely. And the benefits were clear. Significant drops in body weight, body fat, but more importantly, a whole raft of positive changes in cardiometabolic health, blood pressure, cholesterol, insulin sensitivity, inflammation markers, oxidative stress, immune function, all improved.
And mood improved, too.
Yes, mood and quality of life scores went up as well.
Okay, but what about their fitness, their CRF? You said dieting can sometimes lower absolute VO2 max.
Right, this is where it gets fascinating. They did see a decrease in their lean body mass and their absolute VO2 max, but their relative VO2 max fitness relative to body weight actually improved. And they could exercise longer on a treadmill.
Even though they weren't exercising more.
Correct. No change in physical activity levels. It's like that lighter car analogy again, even with a slightly smaller engine.
Yeah.
Being lighter improved its performance per pound, its efficiency.
So how is CR having these effects, even seemingly separate from exercise or major weight changes?
This is the most striking finding from Calorie. The participants in the CR group showed a significantly slower rate of biological aging.
Slower biological aging. How do they measure that?
Using established algorithms based on various biomarkers, the CR group aged biologically at a rate of about 0.11 years for every calendar year, compared to 0.71 years in the control group.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is, and this effect seemed to happen independently of the weight loss itself. They also saw improvements in markers of cellular senescence, basically, aging at the cellular level.
So the takeaway here is
Modest calorie restriction, even that 12% level, seems to be a safe and really promising way to slow down biological aging and boost your health span.
okay, so we have exercise as a powerful tool, CR as another, potentially working at a different level. What about the brain? The paper dedicates a whole section to this.
And rightly so, because cognitive health is crucial to health span. Our brains change as we age, structurally, functionally. We see declines in memory, attention, problem solving, and severe decline, of course, can lead to things like Alzheimer's.
What are the key biological challenges in the aging brain?
Two big ones highlighted are impaired neurogenesis, that's the creation of new brain cells, especially in the hippocampus, which is vital for learning and memory, and the other is neuroinflammation.
Inflammation in the brain.
Yeah, the brain's immune cells, called microglia, can become sort of chronically overactive and pro-inflammatory as we age. They also get less effective at clearing out harmful protein buildups, like the ones seen in Alzheimer's.
But there's good news, right? Exercise helps here too?
Massively. Exercise is widely recognized as one of the best things you can do for your cognitive health, and it's not just one type. Well, aerobic exercise shows strong links to better cognition in healthy adults, and even those with mild cognitive impairment. But resistance training, strength work, that offers benefits too. Lower muscle strength is actually linked to poorer brain function.
Interesting. What about things like stretching or balance?
Flexibility and balance work, especially things involving complex movements like Tai Chi, can improve cognition. Static stretching, maybe not so much, but the movement complexity seems key.
Okay, how does exercise do this? What's the mechanism?
This is where it gets really cool. It involves specific signaling molecules released during exercise, sometimes called exerkines. Think of them as messengers sent from your muscles and elsewhere that talk to your brain.
Like what?
The big one is BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's like fertilizer for your brain cells, vital for strengthening connections, helping neurons survive. Exercise boosts BDNF. Then there's irisin. This is a peptide released from muscle during exercise. It seems to be a key link between activity and BDNF production, specifically in the hippocampus. It's even shown promise in animal models of Alzheimer's, rescuing memory problems.
Wow. Any others?
Yep. Cathepsin B, another factor from muscle, also boosts BDNF and can cross the blood-brain barrier. It's linked to better cognition in older adults at risk for Alzheimer's. There's VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, produced in muscles, linked to better blood flow in the hippocampus, essential for growing new neurons.
So muscles literally talk to the brain through these chemicals.
Exactly. And even things we think of as byproducts play a role. Ketone bodies, like BHB, which your brain uses when you're fasting or exercising intensely. They stimulate BDNF and protect neurons.
And lactate. I thought that was just waste.
Used to think that. But now we know lactate is a crucial fuel for the brain during exercise, and it acts as a signal for building new blood vessels and regulating inflammation. Interestingly, high-intensity exercise, which produces more lactate, seems to give bigger cognitive benefits.
That makes sense. And does it matter when in life you exercise for brain health?
The benefits seem to occur across the entire lifespan. It's quite remarkable.
So.
While prenatally, maternal exercise can lead to better intelligence, vocabulary, motor skills in the child. During adolescence, a period of high brain plasticity, exercise can build a greater cognitive reserve, better memory, higher BDNF levels that last even if they become sedentary later.
So it builds resilience early on.
Exactly. In midlife, exercise increases gray matter volume, improves brain connectivity, and crucially lowers dementia risk. And even in late life, physical activity slashes the risk of developing Alzheimer's by around 45% and improves overall quality of life for older adults.
The message is pretty clear then.
Absolutely. Exercise extends the brain's health span, delays neurodegenerative diseases. It works by boosting neurogenesis, calming neuroinflammation, and fine-tuning these key molecular signals all through life.
Okay, this is all incredibly compelling. Exercise is amazing, CR is promising. But here's the rub. Despite knowing all this, most people still aren't active enough. Which brings us to maybe the most surprising part of this paper. Part 5, the Monty Python solution.
Ah, yes. Silly walks for serious health.
So why are we so inactive? The paper argues it's partly evolutionary. Our bodies are wired for tempo tendency for effort minimization and physical activity. Meaning we're biologically programmed to conserve energy. Every movement, even breathing, is processed as a cost to be minimized. We've evolved to be efficient. Modern human walking is way more efficient than chimpanzee walking. Even individuals with obesity tend to walk surprisingly efficiently from an energy standpoint.
And that efficiency, which was once an advantage for survival, is now counterproductive for health span in our modern sedentary world.
The paper uses this slightly terrifying analogy of the sea squirt.
Oh, right, the sea squirt. Starts life mobile with a brain and muscles.
Swims around, finds a nice spot on a rock where food just comes to it.
And then it digests its own brain and muscles because it doesn't need them anymore. Becomes just a feeding tube, basically.
A bit chilling when you think about us on the couch.
Yeah.
Ordering food electronically.
Yeah, the parallel is a bit uncomfortable. Risking muscle atrophy, cognitive dysfunction, a kind of biological regression driven by convenience.
So the paper proposes a radical idea, PEMPA, the practice of effort maximization in physical activity.
The exact opposite of TEMPA.
We need to find ways to be less efficient in our movements deliberately, but the solution needs to be accessible, doable, maybe even fun, high energy, and ideally something that replaces a current low-energy activity rather than adding yet another thing to our to-do list.
Which is where, unbelievably, Monty Python comes in.
Seriously, the authors literally referenced the Ministry of Silly Walks. They actually studied it.
They did. They tested whether John Cleese's famous Mr. Teabag walk, the one with the high kicks and exaggerated movements, whether that was inefficient enough to significantly boost metabolic rate. They had people mimic the walk and measured their energy expenditure.
Don't keep us in suspense.
The results were, well, pretty silly, but also impressive. The silly walk increased the energy cost of walking by about 2.5 times.
2.5 times?
Yeah. People averaged an oxygen uptake, VCHO2, of nearly 30 milliliters per kilogram per minute. That's vigorous exercise territory, like jogging over 5 miles per hour.
Just from walking silly?
Just from walking inefficiently, yes.
Okay, so what does that mean in practical terms, like calories burned?
Replacing just 1 minute of normal walking with 1 minute of this Cleese-style silly walk burned an extra 8 calories per minute for men and about 5 extra calories per minute for women, on average.
That sounds small, but does it add up?
It could. The paper calculates that swapping just 12 to 19 minutes of your normal daily walking for silly walking could burn an extra 100 calories a day.
And 100 calories a day.
It's roughly the small energy imbalance thought to be driving the obesity epidemic over time. For heavier people, it might only take 8 minutes of silly walking a day to hit that 100-calorie mark.
Wow. Okay. And the point isn't really the weight loss per se,
Yeah.
right? It's the fitness.
Exactly. That's the crucial link back. This increase in activity, this boost in fitness, would have massive benefits for health span, independent of BMI or weight loss. Remember, fit people with obesity often have mortality risks similar to fit people without obesity.
So it's like a public health poly pill, but with laughs.
Kind of. It replaces a low-energy activity, walking normally, with high-energy one, without adding extra time to your day. That makes it potentially more sustainable.
And there's another kicker, isn't there?
Yes. It might even benefit people who aren't doing the silly walk.
Oh.
Laughter. Watching someone do a silly walk might make you laugh. And laughter itself has documented health benefits, better blood pressure, vascular function, pain tolerance, maybe even lower cardiovascular risk.
That's brilliant. An intervention that helps the person doing it and potentially people watching them.
A true win-win. And to tackle that built-in effort minimization tendency, the paper suggests doing it in short bursts, maybe just 1 or 2 minutes at a time.
Because perceived exertion depends on intensity and duration.
Right. Short bursts feel less taxing, but you still get the metabolic and fitness benefits. It makes it much more achievable.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. We've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have. The big picture is, yes, we're living longer, but the real challenge now is boosting our health span, making sure those years are high-quality, active years.
And exercise emerges as this incredibly powerful tool, way beyond just weight management. It's a true polypill for the body and the brain, improving everything from heart health to cognitive function, pretty much independently of weight changes.
Then there's calorie restriction. Even modest restriction seems to tap into deeper biological aging processes, slowing things down at a cellular level, another distinct pathway to a longer health span.
And maybe, just maybe, the key to getting us moving more doesn't have to be grim determination, but could actually be, well, a bit silly. Finding fun, inefficient ways to move, inspired by comedy, no less.
The science is strong on exercise and CR, but getting people to actually do it remains the hurdle. Which leads to a final thought for you, our listener.
Yeah, if maybe just 13 minutes a day of walking like John Cleese could count as vigorous activity, boost your health span, and maybe give someone else a chuckle benefiting them too.
What small, fun, maybe slightly inefficient movement could you weave into your day? The path to a longer, healthier, more joyful life might just be, well, a little bit silly.